Hello. Welcome to the Gimme podcast. God, I stuttered on my words then. That's not a good sign, isn't it? That doesn't bode well. Oh, I did it twice. Oh, what's going on? Shall we start again? Yeah, I'm back after 2 weeks. This is weird. I feel like I haven't done this in ages. It feels like a life ago I last did a stream. Thank you last week to Dom, who covered for me. And thank you to the week before, where Anthony and Dan covered for me, but Dom and I decided to drunkenly crash it, which was great fun. So it's great to be back. So let us have a little intro from who we're going to have. We usually have Big E, so I'm not going to do Big E. Do you know what? We never do this one. You know what? No, I'll do that one when we go. I'll do Shotzi.
This is Shotzi Blackheart, and welcome to Gimme a Whole Yeah! I hope everyone checking this out in Yorkshire and beyond is having a great day.
Thank you very much, Shotzi. So let's have a little look at what's going down on SmackDown tonight. There we go. I'm a little bit out of practice of this, can't you tell by my little stuttery start? So we've got Asuka to defend the WWE Women's Championship against Bianca Belair. I lose track of what the women's titles are called now. Jey Uso is on the warpath in the wake of the undisputed WWE Universal Title Challenge. So let's be honest, he's called out Roman Reigns, and it looks like that's going to be a SummerSlam main event, or at least one of them. We've got AJ Styles, Santos Escobar, we're not going to call him Butch, Pete Dunne, and Grayson Waller to battle it out over a United States Championship Invitational. And we've got the rest of the Brawling Brutes, at least two of them. Sheamus and Ridge Holland are out for retribution against Pretty Deadly. So that's tonight. So the thing that really gets me excited there is the Bloodline stuff. It's not, I think Asuka versus Bianca Belair will be cool. It's about time they got another match. Is it a rubber match, this one? Is this the third in their series? I don't know. I feel like now Bianca Belair and Asuka probably need to end this program, because it's been going on since before. It's been going on since, before WrestleMania. And Asuka's needs to definitively win the feud, although I think there'll be some shenanigans tonight and they'll end up putting that match on at SummerSlam. That's what I think. I don't think we're getting the match properly tonight. At least that's just me. So what do you guys think? Well, I'll just take a swig of... I'm trying Prime for the first time. I'm not being paid by Logan Paul or WWE or KSI. I just thought I'd try it. And with it being a wrestler's drink and it being having a moment at WrestleMania, I thought I'd do it on stream. And not being funny, it's 1 a.m. and I've got 2 hours to go until I can go to bed. So 180 milligrams of caffeine might sort me out. Abracadabra. Let's see who we've got in. That was a reference from a cartoon. I'm not going to say what the cartoon's called in case I offend anyone, because it's got a really naughty name. Bianca's already out. So who have we got? So Michael is in saying, "Hi Sam, how are you? I'm all right, mate. Happy to be here, fully caffeinated. I'm excited for any of the Usos stuff tonight and the Roman Reigns stuff. Everything else they've advertised hasn't really grabbed me. Like, I don't really buy this match because I think it's got SummerSlam written all over it, but we'll see." Leo Bowden saying, "Good evening, time for SmackDown." Sure is. Omar is in. Hello, Omar. Michael is asking me, "Sam, do you own a Rogue Ally?" You might need to tell me what that is, dude. I'm a bit unsure what that is, in truth. Leo saying, "I see Flair interfering in the Asuka versus Bianca." Yeah, me too. And it'll become a triple threat at SummerSlam. Do you know what? I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think that's exactly what they're going to do, because they can't just keep giving us Asuka versus Bianca. I know that's what you do in wrestling, and wrestling is built on rematches and that sort of thing, and that's fine. That's okay. But I think they need to jazz that up, because I feel like they also need to give Asuka a definitive win and end this rivalry, because I'm ready for Bianca to turn heel. In all honesty, I felt if she held that title any longer, she would have needed to for it to work. But we'll see. I don't, because let's be honest, the crowd were cheering Asuka and booing Bianca before they took it off her, and I think I was the only person at WrestleMania who was cheering Asuka and booing Bianca as well. Like even the boys next to me, the other Gimme a Hole Yeah boys were just like looking at me like this as I was doing it. But what are you gonna do? I think I was alone in that one, but oh well. So no more saying. Hi Sam, was watching The Wrestler earlier. Older Mickey Rourke movie about an aging wrestler nearing the end of his career. Worth watching. I know, mate. I've seen it a bunch of times. I'd love to get my wife to watch it as well because I think she'd really like it. I watched it in the cinema, I think, or the theatre, as you guys call it, when it came out, and I loved it then. I didn't really appreciate it back then as much as I do now. But yeah, I love lots of wrestling media. I enjoyed Glow. I enjoyed Heels. Young Rock is pretty cool. Young Rock gives you a great insight into how not very glamorous the business was. When a lot of these guys were starting out. That episode with Rocky Johnson at a flea market is particularly strong and explains what these guys had to do and go through. I know it's a comedy, but it's really good. Oh, here's Charlotte. And Michael is saying it's a Steam Deck, but you can download games. It comes with an Xbox Game Pass for 3 months for free. Oh, right. No, I actually don't, mate. I will look at that because that might be the sort of thing I want because I've been umming and ahhing about buying a Steam Deck for about a year. I don't get round to playing all the games on my Nintendo Switch. So I thought to myself, 500 quid on a Steam Deck's probably a bit pointless. Got me PS5 and my Xbox and all that, but I love my Switch. And I think a Steam Deck could be right up my street, but that does sound pretty cool. I love the idea of portable Xbox Game Pass. That'd help me get through my backlog, which I've started to accept. I'm never ever going to get through. There's not enough years in my human life for me to do that. Eye Patch Wolf is a great channel for wrestling documentaries. Yeah, I love a lot of the ones that WWE put together. Dark Side of the Ring as well. There's a bunch of them are on Vice as well. There's lots of cool wrestling documentaries out there. WWE are very good at putting them together, but obviously they're a little bit biased, aren't they? Just a little bit sometimes, or a little bit fluffed, but not always. They do sometimes give you warts and all, don't they? Right, so we've got Bianca and Charlotte. I think these two are impervious to putting on a bad match together. I don't know. I feel like this storyline is missing something. I don't know what it is. I'm not like excited by it. I don't know. There's something missing, and I kind of wish WWE could capture in a bottle what they've got with the Bloodline story and somehow find a way of injecting that into some of the other stories. That's just me. So what about you, Michael? What do you play your games on primarily? But I like the idea of something I can play Game Pass on in portable mode because I go away a lot. So that'd be good. So I feel like this episode, the advertisement a lot of it has been centered around the Bianca Asuka match, where again for me the main draw tonight is seeing the build to SummerSlam from the Jey Uso point of view. Is Roman Reigns going to show up? But he's not advertised, so probably no Roman Reigns tonight. I wouldn't have thought we'd know about it. I heard a rumor that Cody Rhodes might show up, but he's a Raw guy, so I don't think that's going to end up being true because I haven't seen anything about that, but I haven't looked very hard either, so we'll see. But I think this might be a bit of a filler episode of SmackDown, if I'm being honest, compared to the absolutely awesome one we got last week. They're wooing. So how's everybody else doing since Money in the Bank? How did you find the pay-per-view? How did you find the fallout afterwards, and what's happened with it? And what do you think for SummerSlam? Tell me what you're expecting, what you're looking forward to. Of course, if you don't know, me and Dom and Andy Spores and Scott from Rebellious Noise, we all went there. We interviewed a bunch of WWE wrestlers, which was great. Dom and I did it for WrestleSphere. Andy did it for Rush on Rock, and Scott did it for Rebellious Noise. But we all kind of hung out together, went out for dinner together, had a few drinks, did all of that. We watched SmackDown, and once all the press stuff was over on the Friday, we could relax a little bit more. But we live tweeted it for WrestleSphere. I think we tried to retweet stuff on Gimme a Whole Year as well, just to make sure both channels are being taken care of. Michael is saying, I've got a PS5, a Switch, and I want a Rogue Ally because it's a portable PC. Oh, I'm yawning already, and it's only just begun. What's going on? Yeah, so Asuka looks awesome. I love the Kana makeup, though. I'm so pleased they brought that gimmick back. And Bianca's doing the hair twirl again. Yeah, Michael, I got a Series S alongside my PS5 because I didn't want to. I thought it might be pointless buying a Series X if I've got a PS5. But I didn't want to miss out on the exclusives and stuff like that. So I got myself a Series S. And with the both little bit like white machines, if the PS5 had been black, I kind of would have preferred it if it had come in black. I would have probably got the Series X, but I thought two of the white matte machines look quite good next to each other. So that's what I did. And the Switch is there. Taylor's in. Hello, Taylor. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. Are you excited for tonight? Because I'm a bit... I don't know. AJ's back tonight, thank God. The Karrion Kross storyline with AJ, that's pretty cool. Michael saying, not happy LA Knight didn't win, but I hope both cash-ins are successful. Yeah, like there was... you should have heard the British crowd for LA Knight. My God, I'm sure you could see it on, when you were watching, but being there in person, it was thunderous, absolutely thunderous. And all weekend, everywhere we went, walking around London, all we heard was, yeah, or LA Knight, yeah, or dummies, yeah, which he doesn't even say in WWE. He doesn't do the dummies thing. That was an Impact thing. But yeah, he was so over. Probably the most over guy in the building. More so than Cody. More so than even Drew or anyone else. But yeah, like we were talking about this. Me and Andy Spores were talking about this, and Scott on the Wrestling Royalty stream earlier, and we were saying that there's got to be a plan for LA Knight, because if there isn't, and they're waiting an opportunity, because they moved very quickly with Kofi Mania, but then they moved at a snail's pace for when we wanted Daniel Bryan to be the man, and they were pushing Roman Reigns, but eventually they saw sense, and turning Roman Reigns heel was the greatest thing they ever did. Let's be honest, just amazing. Look what it's led to. So we get this Logan Paul drink. I'm not so sure about Prime. It was, it just tastes like Monster, but from another can. And a colleague was telling me today it's got more caffeine, but I looked, it's got the exact same amount of caffeine. So I don't really see what the draw is, other than two influencers to put it together. Taylor's saying orange and mango is the worst of all the flavors. Well, now you tell me. I'll take your word for it, Taylor. I don't quite know how many more of them I'll be drinking. The US edition has 60 milligrams more caffeine. I wonder if that's kind of a regulation thing. Because I know Mountain Dew does as well, doesn't it? Like the Mountain Dew over here is actually quite tame. But our Red Bull and our Monster Energy is pretty hardcore, isn't it? Omar is asking, which wrestler surprised you the most at the interviews in Money in the Bank? Maybe Santos Escobar. Because I always thought he was such a natural heel, like a natural bad guy, and he was insanely charismatic as a good guy when we were there, and he was like such a lovely bloke. I can't even imagine him ever being a bad guy like he was in Legado del Fantasma in NXT. He was such a, again, go watch the clip for yourself, and you can see what he says. Like that isn't, he doesn't just cut a baby praise promo. He speaks very, very earnestly, and it was, like Dom especially was quite moved by it. It was amazing. It was really, really good. But he's the guy who surprised me the most. LA Knight as well, like had just this magnetic presence when he walked into the room. And Shayna Baszler was awesome too. She was told us she's a great Warhammer fan and stuff like that. So that excited us, or excited me, who's obsessed with that stuff behind closed doors. I hope tonight's as good as last week. I really enjoyed the last few weeks. Yeah, I'm really worried they're going to spin the wheels a little bit tonight. I think they're going to build to SummerSlam closer to SummerSlam because they're not ready to unleash the card yet, are they? And tell us what they're doing. They seem to be being a bit cagey. We could predict the SummerSlam card easy enough. Like I've got about 9 matches predicted so far, but I don't think all of them will make it onto the card because WWE don't seem to do 9-match pay-per-views anymore unless it's Mania. But it'd be good if they do, because I think SummerSlam, they should treat as a bigger deal than they do the others. And I mean that including Survivor Series and Royal Rumble. I think SummerSlam should be closer to Mania. Not like 2 nights, but I'd be fine with 9 matches on that card. Like AEW get away with it all the time. And they don't utilize the pre-show anymore. Get a couple of matches on the pre-show. They don't want to suggest anything is less important by putting it on the pre-show. But if it helps us get some more storyline told and some more stuff, do it. Take advantage of it. I hope a Comic-Con announce Asuka figure with face paint. Ooh, that would be cool. I don't really collect figures, like wrestling figures. I've got Sting behind me. You can see there. Oh, there. Next to the teddy bear I got from WrestleMania, which I got from my wife, but we just kind of stuck there. Michael saying, how loud was Cena's pop? It was pretty loud, but you had a few people in the crowd, not many, shouting John Cena sucks, of course, but most people popped out their shoes and were happy to see him. Although it was LA Knight was still the guy they wouldn't shut up about. They kept on chanting, and chanting his name. So he was the man of the night, definitely for the British crowd. And from what I've seen from the American crowds, it's similar. He's over there as well. Taylor's telling me orange and mango is the worst flavour. Oh yeah, he told me that. Yeah, and there's the caffeine thing. Lemon and lime is the best. Yeah, I love lemonade. So that would probably give that a go. My favourite is Ice Pop. It's really good. Ice Pop energy is very, very nice. Okay. Norma saying, so glad Priest won. Lots of ways to go with that storyline. I agree, Norma. I actually, I wanted LA Knight to win, but I got talked into wanting Priest to win the more people I talked to. And I thought, again, I'm a big Finn Balor fan, and I thought Priest winning was the best way to do something with Finn Balor, because obviously there's issues between Finn and Priest, isn't there? So, they have to do something else with LA Knight, though, because this LA Knight Mania won't last forever. Like Kofi Mania hit hard and then went away just as fast. As soon as that Brock Lesnar's burial happened, it was done. It was over. So, and they've never addressed it, never really done much with it ever since. So, I don't want to do that again. WWE crowd are fickle. They will anoint someone their hero, but then forget about them later on. But WWE sometimes want people to forget about them. Because back in the day, nobody got over without Vince saying so, which is... And I've always been of the belief that WWE are one of WWE's, the parents, if you of creative, and the fans are the other parents in many ways. They can't just give us what we want every single time we cry for it, because we'd soon get bored of getting our own way. we have to, as fans, trust them now and then to do the right thing, because who knows where they're going to go. It might be awesome. And it has been before. It's been crap before as well. But at the same time, they can't completely ignore the fans' desires and stray too far away from it, because then the fans will always just be unhappy. So you've got to find a happy medium. It's the same with TV programs and things like that, and books and TV shows and whatever, because you stray too far from what the fans want, they're not going to be happy. But if you never give them a surprise, it's going to be boring. So that's the tricky situation WWE's got to navigate when you're essentially writing fiction, which is kind of what they're doing. Although it's just fiction that plays out in front of us. Taylor's saying, knowing the E was the biggest matches will be on SmackDown the night before. Knowing the E? Brilliant. Any tips for interviewing pro wrestlers? Don't be a mark, I suppose, is the best one. Try and sometimes it's hard when you've got a massive presence in front of you, and you are a little bit starstruck, and you've got to be able to just kind of turn that off and be cool. A good example is when we were in LA before Mania. We were in the Rainbow Room, really awesome rock and roll bar where they do. I had a Philly cheesesteak in there, which was absolutely. I'd book a flight just to go and get that sandwich again. But loads of wrestlers walked in while we were eating, while we were having a drink, like Dolph Ziggler, Bully Ray, Frankie Kazarian. That's just to name a few. And, we were chatting to some other journalists who were much more famous than we are, and much more well known. I won't say who they were. So these wrestlers were walking up to our table, saying hello to everybody, and then walking off. And we just had to we couldn't mark out and ask them for pictures. It was a case of let's just be cool, say hi, smile, shake their hands. Like Bully Ray shook my hand, and it was like, my God, this is an enormous hand. So I think with interviews, that's a good thing to adopt. Just be cool. Just talk to them like you were talking to an old friend. Don't be too starstruck by it, and it's hard to do. I think I was lucky because I do the majority of my interviews over Zoom and things like that. So when I am face to face with them, it's not quite a bigger deal as it would have been if I always was. I'm trying to think what else. Like we did get a picture later on. There's a really fun picture I got with Frankie Kazarian, Andy, and Dan Hargreaves. But that's because we were at the bar, and it was just kind of he offered, he was happy to do it. We were just stood at the bar with him, so it was natural. So we weren't really being especially marky or like big fans. It was kind of just a fun thing we did together. So that was nice. But yeah, and try and ask them a question that everybody else doesn't ask them. Like try and think of something that gets to the root of who they are. We've been asking a lot of wrestlers about their legacy recently, and we can't keep asking that question. We're gonna have to retire it eventually. But I asked it to Trinity, formerly Naomi, in WWE this week on a WrestleSphere interview, and the same question to Deonna Purrazzo, and they opened up like flowers and told us some amazing stuff. Trinity started talking about her husband, Jimmy Uso, sorry, and how the Bloodline stories kind of inspired her has really galvanized her in Impact and made her think about what she wants to do to really, change the game like her husband has done. Again, a quick plug for WrestleSphere. You can go and have a look at the interview I did with them there. It's all very short, but it was one of those interviews where anything else we said to them didn't matter because that answer was so nice, was so good. So we just did the whole article. You can read it if you want, or you can just watch it, or do both, whatever you want. But yeah, that'd be my tips. I hope that answered the question there, Omar. LA Knight was the most popular wrestler in wrestling today, in my opinion. Yeah, he is, but again, the crowd are fickle. It's going to be interesting to see how long that lasts, and if WWE just ride it out and ignore it, or do they have some nice plan that they're going to do something with him? Like, they don't need to necessarily make him a champion. They just need to give him a decent story. Just give him just something cool to do, and take advantage of his epic mic skills and the fact that he's good in the ring as well. Like, it's the whole package. And I heard people saying, "Oh, they're not pulling the trigger on him because of his age," and I think that's BS, because it's like, Finn Balor's in his early 40s. AJ Styles is in his mid 40s. There's lots of people there who aren't spring chickens, but are still the best they've ever been. Like, Finn Balor and AJ Styles are still incredible. And I actually think lots of wrestlers are like fine wines. They, as they age, they get better. Look at Edge at the moment. Edge is like a bit grey. He's grizzled. He looks cooler than he's ever looked, and he just is cooler than he's ever been as a heel or a face. Edge is the best he's ever been, I think, right now. So the whole age thing, nah, I don't buy into it. When they're over 50, okay, yeah, like we all perhaps slow down a little bit then. It's inevitable, but I think if you're in your 40s, you've still got a lot to offer. Pretty Deadly have their own disco ball. They're definitely favourites of management. Yeah, so we met Pretty Deadly as well there, and they're just so marketable. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're very quick, very funny. The back and forth between them is just great. You can see why they've skyrocketed onto the main roster, and I can't wait to see where they go, really, because I actually thought, like, not that English wrestlers don't do well, because they often do, but I thought their shtick might not quite, the American audience might not get it, like the Brits do. But I was wrong. The American audience seems to be lapping it up, which is great, because it's, shows you guys are smart and know what you're doing. Normari is saying, saw a good interview with LA Knight. Said after 20 years in pro wrestling, he's an overnight sensation. See, I think he's been putting in the work for those 20 years, be it NWA, be it Impact. He's worked for WWE before, don't forget, under a different name a long time ago. But I think this is his time. I'm not saying he needs to become the next Roman Reigns or Cena or anything like that, but they do need to realize they've got a hot commodity and use it. But I could say that about so many people. And oh my God, Ridge Holland is just throwing Pretty Deadly around. Bloody hell. Go on, Ridge the Fridge. God, Ridge is on fire. Taylor, I see what you mean. Prince Ali, hello, mate. Nice of you to join us, even. Blackpool Combat Club feels a little wooden. They need to follow the same structure as the NWO and WCW days. Yeah, I don't know, because with the Blackpool Combat Club and AEW, they are proper tough guys. Do you know what I mean? The idea of their stable is they don't take no BS. They're here to crack skulls and break bones. Where the NWO were naughty boys. Do you know what I mean? They were like, yes, they were a threat, but it was the numbers game that made them a threat. One-on-one, they were cowards. They were heelish cowards. With the Blackpool Combat Club are a different level of heel. They're not monster heels, but they're going for a very different angle, I feel, with the Blackpool Combat Club that they did with the NWO. Like Bullet Club and the NWO are very similar. Bullet Club use the numbers game. When they're heels, because not everyone in Bullet Club is a heel, but the original idea of Bullet Club was very the Click, very NWO. Like, they're using that numbers game to get an advantage. Everybody's scratching each other's back. Being in the club means you've always got these guys watching your back to help you win in nefarious ways. Where I think the BCC, although they are doing that in AEW, Eddie Kingston was saying a few weeks ago, wasn't he? So you don't need Claudio to win. So perhaps they are trying to go that way. But we'll see. The NWO is one of the best heel stables that the wrestling has ever had. So they are the template, aren't they, for lots of guys? Omar saying, yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, anytime, anything you want to know. Again, there are plenty of journos out there who are far more experienced than me when it comes to wrestling journalists, interviewing journalists. But it's becoming an increasingly important part of, I suppose, my life, career, and stuff. So I'm leaning into it. I'm happy to do it. And Michael saying, do you ask people if you can interview them? I'm not sure how it works. Well, what it is, Michael, we don't reach out to the wrestlers. Everything we do goes through. So anything Dom and I do goes through WrestleSphere, which goes through the WWE's PR company. So, like, we'd be in touch with them. They're the ones who invited us to the event. They're the ones who control pretty much everything. They put the wrestlers in front of you. They're the ones who tell you how much time you've got. And if you go over that time, trust me when I say you've got someone patting you on the shoulder saying, come on now, time's up. And they will do. So much so that Santos Escobar, you can actually see it on our interview, Santos Escobar goes, no, let me just finish what I'm saying to one of them. But they are great at what they do. They were so professional and helpful to deal with. They know their game inside out. And they were really generous to Dom and I and Andy while we were there. And very much looking forward to seeing them and working with them again. But yeah, that's how it works. It's the same in gaming as well. We often go through the press office and we deal with the press companies that the PR companies that they're dealing with, rather than going to the the developers or anything themselves. It's just the way it works. Journalists often talk to PR guys, and we help each other as well. Like, PRs can't exist without journos can't exist without PRs. And there are lots of journos who have worked as PRs in the past, and lots of PRs, have been journalists and vice versa. I've worked in PR, so it's nice to have been on that other side, and you learn empathy then for their job as well, because you're all on the same team. Hi, Lee. Nice to have you in, mate. Oh, here is Grayson Waller, who, unpopular opinion, I think they need to get rid of Grayson Waller effects. Just put a mic in his hand and let him be a heel. He doesn't need a chat show. That's Miz's gimmick. It's the Piper's Pit in it, really. Chat shows are fine in wrestling. They're fine. They're never going to go anywhere. I think they're a bit played out now. Do we need another one? So I'm burping there because it's this bloody Prime thing. I'll try a couple more flavors, but I'm not going to lie, guys. Like, these energy drinks just taste like energy drink to me. I like the taste of Red Bull, but every Monster drink I ever drink is just like tastes the same as the last one. It's got that aftertaste, that energy aftertaste. Do they really have flavors, or are they all just energy drink? Come on, like, that's what I think. Change my mind. Hope the Cody Brock thing ends at SummerSlam. Enough already. Yeah, see, I'm happy to watch them two keep battering each other. I find it very entertaining. I'd love it if they told us why the feud happened, but I don't think there is a reason why the feud happened, other than Vince decided it was going to shock the audience on the Raw after Mania. So I don't know if WWE have actually thought, hell, is there going to be a reason for this? Because if you analyze it, Brock can't challenge. I suppose it's one title now, isn't it? For the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, while Roman holds it, and hasn't been able to for a whole year because of the stipulation on his match last year at SummerSlam. So surely, if you're Brock Lesnar, it makes the most sense for someone like Cody to let and help Cody beat Roman. Then you're free of that stipulation. You can then challenge Cody for it. Why on earth would you put your foot in the door and get in the way of that, of that happening? Because all Brock did is elongate the time it takes for him to get back into the title picture. So it actually makes no sense from a story point of view. And I'm not convinced that was where they were going before they were going there. But we'll see. Like, they might give us a reason. Like, Brock might eventually tell him why, because they're still addressing that Like Cody even said on Raw the other day, we still don't know why you did it, or words to that effect. But I'm not convinced there ever was a reason. Prove me wrong, WWE. Do prove me wrong. These links. What links? Have you posted some links, Taylor? I don't see them. He keeps talking about The Rock. Yeah, he's a smart lad, that Grayson Waller. He knows. It's like, for example, calling out legends has worked quite well for people in the past. Matt Riddle springs to mind. I think that's what he's doing. If he can get a rub from The Rock online, it's a big deal. And who knows? Oh, are you still awake? You can pop on if you want, Anthony. What are you doing? Dom got owned. Abused the square key. I call for a rematch. I'm not being funny, mate. You cashed a lot of checks with your mouth. Wrote a lot of checks with your mouth that you couldn't cash with your ass back when it came to it. From what I could see, I was dipping in and out. I was preparing for my own stream here and now. But But yeah, rematch. And you two describing yourselves as the best gamers ever. That's me laughing at you. See what he says. He's going to tell me off now. He's going to pop onto the stream, shout at me, and disappear again. What's the bet? I'm daring him. Best thing to flavour an energy drink is Jägermeister. Yes! Norma. Yes! So I don't know if you have them in America. I'm sure you do because you have Red Bull and Jägermeister. But Jaeger bombs. Shot of Jägermeister into a small glass of Red Bull. Just enough Red Bull for you to neck it. You can take it as a shot. Oh my God. The amount of times in my life I've necked them. They're so good. Although, when I was younger, like in the north of England, and only in the north of England does stuff like this happen. They said you got laughed at if you had Jaeger bombs with Red Bull. You were supposed to have it with Stella Artois, so a strong lager beer, which sounds absolutely horrific. But in some places in this country, that's what a Jaeger bomb is. So if you have it with Red Bull, you will be laughed at. Like for me, I think the Red Bull and Jägermeister is tastier. I hate putting anything in beer. Beer is beer. Leave beer uncorrupted. Don't put anything in beer. A shandy if you're driving. Okay, cool. That's fine. But no, like a Jaeger bomb. The reason Jaeger bombs are fun is they're so tasty. You have a few of them. You're drunk before you know it. That's the fun. Ant's laughing at my challenge. No, it was good, to be fair, Ant. It was actually, I kind of enjoyed it. And it kind of makes me want to play the game a little bit more. Because I was lucky enough to be given a copy pre-release, thanks to my job. But I didn't get much chance to play it. My plan was to help the guys with some guides and some content. But I was so busy with the Diablo stuff, I never actually, got round to doing it. So same with 2K. Got the last 2K game, played it for about an hour, and I was just doing something else. Like it's the only downside of my job, and it's the only downside because I love it in gaming, is a lot of what you play, even though you're having a good time, you enjoy it. It's kind of dictated to by not the company you work for, but necessity, what you've got to get through. I'd love to get through Final Fantasy 16, but I feel like I've got more to do in Diablo because Season 1 is rolling around, and we'll have to do some content for that. And with doing this and watching wrestling and going back and forth to London to do all that sort of stuff, you don't always get the time to play the games that you need. So it's the amount of wrestling I've got to watch in a week is unreal. So, but yeah, I wouldn't change it. Let's have a little. Jaeger itself is my bag, baby. What did we drink in LA, Ant? I don't remember. I think we just drank beer, didn't we? We were pretty good. I think back to LA. I thought, especially you and I, you and I be falling in a lot of ditches, but I think we were all quite well behaved. Even that day, and I'm sure you've all heard this story before, but Ant says we're going to have a picnic by the lake before we go into SoFi Stadium. And we're all thinking, oh, that sounds awesome. I'm thinking picnic basket, tuna and cucumber sandwiches, some crisps or chips, as you guys call them, you know, some little mini quiches. I'm thinking a classic English picnic, but no, a whole picnic is a polythene bag full of 9% craft ale beers, and you've got to drink them all before you go into the stadium because you can't bring them in with you. So we were all absolutely drunk as skunks by the time we went in there, which was great because I didn't need to spend SoFi Stadium prices on beer like we did the first day. And oh my God, I spent $60 on like a couple of beers. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it's all these bars in LA and nobody rinsed us like that. But wow, SoFi Stadium. Although we wanted to drink those Stone Cold beers, didn't we, Am? I think that's probably what it was. I know Dan and I put a hell of a lot of them away. I would love to hear you do the smell riff and it's Waller. I would crack up. Yeah, let's hear him do it. Omer saying, have you played God of War, especially 2018? I've played all the God of Wars. Omer, yeah, the rebooted series is especially good. I gotta say, if you people played the old series, the like the ancient Greek ones, and you haven't played the Norse ones, go and play the Norse ones. And if you've only played like the 2018 and its sequel, go back and play the original ones and get all Kratos' backstory because it still matters. It's so cool. So here we go, seeing a bit of a recap of the... Is this a recap of the Bloodline stuff? I should pay more attention to the show and less to you. And say the intention of the stream is to show how it's supposed to be played. With mates. Oh, yeah, you're right, you're right. We're fun with each other, the old callback sofa gaming. Yeah, to be fair to Fight Forever, I do kind of like that it reminds me a little bit of the old SmackDown games like WCW Mayhem, WCW versus NWO Revenge. It does have that old school wrestling game vibe to it. I like that because obviously 2K is kind of more of a simulator, isn't it? A little bit. It goes for realism, which is ironic because wrestling's fake as hell. So it's... Yeah, but you know, they're both good. Like, I think if you've got the most recent 2K game and you've got the AEW one, you've got some awesome wrestling games to play. What a buzz! I should really play more of them. So it was a delicious picnic. It was. That was really nice beer, actually. I think there was like a mango flavored one that was like 9%, the 9% one. It killed me off, but it was. I was a bit sleepy like during Mania because of some of them. Red Bull sorted me out though. But yeah, it was nice. I'd do that again. That's the way forward. Drink all your beer before you go in. Have a big wee and then just sit and watch the whole show. Had to get some nachos and a hot dog though. I think you guys got a pizza, didn't you? Ragnar was amazing too. Yeah, it just so good. Oh, here's EO. See, I love how Bailey and EO are now on the same page again. Because surely Bailey's going to interfere with that cash in when it happens and ruin it for her. Like, maybe them being buddy again will make that moment more shocking. Because I actually thought they might do that at Money in the Bank itself. I was counting on it, really. Here's Zelina Vega, who's super over as a babyface. She told us she didn't think she'd ever work as a babyface. I think the whole Puerto Rico thing really helped that. Really showed how much of a great babyface she can be. Go grab a snack, all right, Michael? Ooh, I could do with a snack actually. It's hours ago I ate. I went to the pub for tea. It was awesome. Michael getting a lot of snacks and warming up some nuggets. Oh, I want some nuggets. What? God, I want some food. I know we got loads in. Like Jess went shopping today and bought the entire supermarket. So I bet I've got loads of treats in that kitchen that I don't even know about. You were only asleep because it was a Reigns match. See, look, like, I'll give you a small part of that. Because, yeah, he is now... It does feel a little bit like the McIntyre match, the Sami Zayn match, and the Cody Rhodes match were largely the same thing. You know, Solo Sikoa interferes, the babyface loses where the babyface was formerly winning. So I agree that they are getting a little bit repetitive. And the Cody one suffered from it the most. It really did. But I think there's a lot of storytelling in the Roman Reigns matches, like the one with against McIntyre at Clash at the Castle. I won't have anything said about that because that was great. Like we saw that one live, and it did get us, and we knew Roman was probably more than likely winning, but it didn't stop us believing. I suppose I never thought Sammy was beating him, but I wasn't sure at Mania. I know you were convinced he was losing, and Dom was convinced that Cody was winning. I was on the fence a little bit. I actually thought Cody might win because it just seemed so perfect, but that was the well, that was it, wasn't it? Really, it was too perfect. We'll see. I'm back. Got cookies. Oh yeah, I want some cookies. But yeah, so I get what you're saying, Anne. I think, you know, but I don't think all Roman Reigns matches are boring at all. I really don't. I think they're a very different. So like again, if you're an AEW guy primarily, which of course you are, they are going to feel quite slow paced because they're a very WWE sports entertainment old school kind of match. But I sometimes prefer that to when it's four guys jumping off everywhere, flipping about, and you can't really follow it. Like that's the stuff I fast forward. Like I don't want to see. And it's a shame as well, really, because I feel like there are awesome matches in AEW that the first time I saw them or variants of them, I was thrilled by them. Where now I groan and fast forward. But I do the same thing for WWE. Like if they were to do a street, I'm not watching another Viking Raiders versus Alpha Academy match. I don't want to see it. I don't care. You know, I know that storyline isn't for me. It's for the kids. I get that. But it's some of the mid card stuff in AW and WWE just sometimes doesn't do it for me anymore. Where I think the slow sports entertainment style match, there's definitely a place for it. I think it certain storylines it works, and other storylines it wouldn't. Like it wouldn't have worked with Ospreay and Omega. That was perfect. That was exactly what it needed to be. But I think Cody Rhodes had a lot of good matches like that in AEW, definitely. But he's more of a do it that way kind of guy, structure it, and almost plodding, or almost methodical matches. Hey, that's why I'm here, baby. That's why I'm here. And you know me, I think me and Dan are quite straight down the line when it comes to our fandoms. I think we're AEW and WWE guys. We can't stand any form of tribalism. We want to cheer everybody. You know, I'm of the view that if AEW is doing well and WWE are doing well, then wrestling's doing well because they're the two big companies. And the more popular wrestling gets, then the more popular something like Impact is going to get, Ring of Honor is going to get. Maybe more people will experiment and watch some New Japan. I can't wait for the G1. You know, it's just. And if Meltzer's right, and if wrestling is having this renaissance, then awesome. I mean, it's especially good for the guys like us who do this the way we do it. And oh God, Shotzi's getting her hair chopped off. See, is EO still this person? Because she's been a lot more of a baby face recently, so I don't know if I buy it. Oh yeah, oh no, she's still that person. She's holding it up. So she's not ready for a face turn, then, is she? Really? Where's Misfit? If Misfit was here, he'd be telling me she is. Don't know where you are tonight. Where is Misfit tonight? Is he doing his own? How dare you? So who we got? We got Bailey versus Alina. Bailey was another one we interviewed at Money in the Bank. Absolute pro. I drank some water with her and Sean Ross Sapp. That was surreal. Only for a moment, of course. Had a good chat with Sean, though. That was nice. We both discussed our mutual friend, Tom Talks Rubbish. Shout out to Tom, who gave us 2 donations tonight. Thank you, Tom. We really appreciate it. But, well, yeah, thank you very much. We do appreciate it. As well, I think is what I want to say. Dom asked Zelina about her musical tastes and if her and Malachi Black have kind of like influenced each other musically, with Malachi Black being such a rock guy, which I thought was a cool question. That's the sort of thing I mean, Omar. Like you've got to know when it's appropriate to ask about not so much their personal life, but it's common knowledge that she's married to Malachi Black, and with Restsphere originally being and it still is part of Soundsphere. The connection to music is there, so we lean into that when we can as well. That's the parent company at the end of the day, so we've got to do that. Norma saying, I like Zelina Vega. She's so tiny when she squared up to Rhea in Puerto Rico. Her size disadvantage was crazy. And do you know what's mad as well? So when I saw her in real life, I was blown away by how small Zelina Vega is. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. When you see people on TV, they just seem larger than life. So when I was stood a couple of feet away from her, and I'm not a tall guy, I'm 5'9". I remember just being shocked by how pint-sized she was. And what's incredible is up close is like Rhea Ripley looks terrifying and dominant on TV, and in real life Rhea Ripley is actually quite small. So when you see Ripley towering over Zelina, it's like, wow. It's just so different, like how it is in real life compared to how it is live. And even when you're watching live and you're seeing the ring and seeing them go, do it, it doesn't feel quite as, they don't look quite as small. It's only when you stood in a room with them that they do. But I imagine people would say that about me if I was a famous wrestler. Oh, shot. See, this is the sort of thing they need to get Shotzi to do more of. Yeah, Omar. So Zelina was saying she listens to more. Oh, Shotzi shaving her head. What the hell? Yeah, Michael. And then some. What the hell? Didn't see that coming. Well, there's not going to be a hair versus hair match. Well, that was interesting. Didn't. It's a jazz here, everyone. Yeah, you're next, Bailey. That's nuts. Did she just embrace straight edge into her life? What was I saying? I don't even remember. Nice crowd behind Michael. Nice sign behind Michael Code saying, yeah. Well, that was rather shocking. We have an Uso. Presumably it's Jey, because Gimme is probably kayfabe injured. See, yeah, Michael, that's exactly what they need to do with Shotzi. Make her a nutter. Make her crazy. The thing they tried doing with Liv Morgan, that just didn't work. You know what I mean? The crazy, violent Shotzi. The wild card who's just going to come out of nowhere and, do things like that. Wonder if she will ditch the army tank entrance. See, but that's kind of original and fun, and I really like it. But yeah, they need her to be a bit of a savage for a while, don't they? I think they need her to go full crazy. I think it'll really rehabilitate like her character and give her something to do. Because the green hair was one of the things she was like known for. So without it, it's almost like, well, who is she? Because even on the indies, she was the girl with the green hair. She was known as Pizza Cat at one point, I believe, in one of them. I don't know where it was, but I've got that memory from somewhere. I would have a crazy Shotzi team up with a crazy Nikki Cross. See, yeah, it is a little bit Nikki Cross's gimmick, but Nikki Cross is probably a different kind of crazy. I got the point that this was a vengeful, aggressive crazy where they've made Nikki Cross into a bit of a lovable goof, haven't they? The WWE main roster. I think for Nikki Cross, like this, they need to get her. They needed to get her away from that awful superhero gimmick, didn't they? Good God, what were they thinking? I was going to say, dude, yeah, I'm into it. I'm interested to see what they're going to do. I hope they actually utilize that well. I love it when they get a bit dark. That's why Dom and I like the Bray Wyatt stuff so much, isn't it? Or someone like Karrion Kross and Dexter Lumis before he was a lovable goof. Exactly, yeah. Sort of like heel Nikki Cross. Yeah, because like, to be fair, Nikki ASH was a heel, wasn't she? Ultimately, the idea was she was a good guy, a bad guy who thought she was a good guy until it was obvious that she wasn't. But yeah, the current Nikki Cross we've got is a sweet, likable crazy. You know, the person you want in your corner. You wouldn't trust them to feed your cat while you went away, but you'd want them in your corner in a fight, kind of crazy. It was the Dean Ambrose kind of crazy, wasn't it? It was the watered down John Moxley, which at its moments worked quite well at times. It was such good. Anyway. Yeah, you see, no more. I don't know. I like the idea of her becoming a Dark Avenger, like a Sting sort of figure. You know, Sting at the height of his power. You know what I mean? When Sting would come down, savage the NWO, then vanish again. I love the idea of that. Shotzi kind of doing that, just stalking the villains and coming out of nowhere like some kind of violent vigilante. And I've just realised Hassan's in, and I've done no votes at all. How many matches have we even had tonight? The show's been on an hour. What is this, the second match we've had? I should do it, shouldn't I, really? I'll do it when it's back. Oh, it's back now. Shotzi has me glued to see what's going to happen next week. Yeah, me too, Michael. And I didn't think I'd be saying that tonight. I didn't think the thing I'm most interested on this show so far would be an angle with Shotzi Blackheart, but it is. Oh, we had her doing our intro. It was fate. Survivor Series, November 25th. Oh, the day before my birthday. Nice. Which means my birthday's on a Sunday this year. Cool. It means I'll hopefully not have any work to do. Yay. You never know with this job. There's no such thing as 9 to 5. It's just something needs doing, you do it. It's nothing needs doing, you chill. Hey, here's the watered down Bullet Club. To be fair, all four of them are fantastic. I don't know why I'm even saying that. Hassan, remind me, mate, I'll do a vote next time there's a match, which I think we're about to see. But you never know. Well, we're getting a Uso promo. This is what I'm here for tonight, guys. Don't know about you. This is what I'm here for. Bloodline story. Give me more Bloodline stuff. He's great, isn't he? Jey Uso. He's so good at this. I know Gimme is the more vibrant, bouncy one, but I think Jey is the one on the microphone who's really got the Got the presence. God, do you remember when Roman Reigns was a bad promo? That feels like a million years ago compared to him now. That is a guy who just, something just clicked with Roman Reigns. I feel like it wasn't long ago we were poking fun at him for stumbling over his words when he was talking to Cena, and Cena going, "It's called cutting a promo, kid. You're going to have to learn how to do it if you're going to be the guy around here." See, I know you've all heard me fantasy book and predict where I think this story is going a million times, but I don't think Jey needs to win the title from Roman or beat him in a match to win this feud. I think it needs to be a moral victory, you know? I've got bad news for you, Omar. The bloodline is no more. It's full on civil war now. Just listening to Jey. I can listen to the guy read the phone book, to be fair. Goosebumps. So Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, SummerSlam main event? Yay or nay? Jey, everyone seems into Jey. Yeah, me too. What if he was the one to beat Roman, though? Because again, I'm of the view that they're going to do, his little brother. Yeah, I'm of the view that they're doing Cody again at Mania, mainly because that's what's been reported, but that could always change. The 6 months more until Mania. A lot more, actually, than that. I'll be one moment, guys. I'm just going to quickly nip to the toilet. I'll be 1 second. Unmute. There we go. I'm back. What did I miss? Makes sense, though, doesn't it, for Jey to go up against Solo before he gets anywhere near the tribal chief? And it makes sense for Roman to duck him. and let Solo do the dirty work, like he did to Jey so many times. So my cat's just jumped all over my face, and I've got cat hairs everywhere. Think it'll be the main event. Ironically, I don't think there's any chance. However, he has way more story than Cody going into this match. Yeah, it's indisputable. He's got the story. Like Cody's the big star, isn't he? Like, but this is the story. So they do need to. They can't just keep Roman and Cody away from each other for a whole year like they have done so far. They need to start. They can't just shove Cody into this, but they do need to do a better job in the run up to Mania of making the story Roman and Cody, more so than they just did last time. More so than the whole "well, I've won the Royal Rumble, so I'm coming for you" thing. But that's been enough in the past, though. Like, and if they were selling a boxing match, like you don't always need a story. Sometimes what's happened is the story. Like if you were selling a boxing match, there doesn't need to be a history between those two boxers. Just one of them needs to be the number one contender and one of them needs to be the champ. Sometimes that's enough, Sometimes it isn't. I'm looking forward to watching this back, actually, tomorrow. Okay, I'm done with the Bloodline story. First, it was Roman grooming Jey. Now he wants engagement. Well, isn't the idea that Jey's been programmed by Roman, but he's always kind of known Roman's been a wrong un all the way through this, and now needs taking out? I still think this is good. I think there's life left in it, and I'll tell you now, I'd bet my house that Roman ain't losing that title until Mania. And I don't think he should. I think he should hold it all the way till Mania because I think Roman Reigns losing that title now, and when I say title, I mean the unified, the new belt, the unified one. I don't get why Heyman still carries a bunch of them around. I think it's disrespectful for Roman to lose it now any other place but WrestleMania. Oh, God, Solo's talking. I would love for LA Knight versus Roman at Mania. The babyface push would be like Bryan versus Kofi in a way. I don't know if LA Knight is there yet. I don't think LA Knight is going to be that guy. I actually don't think his momentum is quite like that on that level of Daniel Bryan. Same with Kofi. Like Kofi, look, Kofi is a place in WWE for life, forever. But he was a bit of a flash in the pan. As soon as Brock Lesnar squashed him, we all forgot about him. He went back to the New Day, and that was that. He's a former WWE champion. No one can ever take that away from him. Kofi Mania was a thing that happened. I think LA Knight is going to be more like that than Daniel Bryan, because Daniel Bryan was an entire game changer for me. That was another Rey Mysterio moment. That, I don't know if LA Knight is going to be that. I think LA Knight is going to be the People's Prince for a while, and either WWE are going to damage him so much that doesn't happen, or we're going to get what we want with him, or he's just going to consistently be a star, like an upper mid card star. But I don't see him being a John Cena, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns level. But I've been wrong before, and I'm sometimes happy to be again. Misfits in the house. Better late than never. I'm joking. You've got your own life, mate. Again, I would not be against Bayley being added to the match at SummerSlam, making it a 4-way. Io cashes in after Bayley wins the title. See, Misfit, you know where I'm going with this. I still want Bayley. I want Bayley to be encouraging Io, gets Io to cash in, and then scuppers her cash in out of envy. That's what I want. I want Io to cash in and then fail. And the person who caused the failure, Bayley, Why? Because Io got too big for her boots. Doesn't Io know that Bayley is the leader of Damage Control? She's the one who brought her back. She's the one who brought her to the main roster. She's the one who led that group. She's the one who gave Io all those opportunities. And Io wins the Money in the Bank ladder match, climbed over her on that ladder, humiliated her, took what was rightfully hers. Now, I love this being a long game Bayley's playing where she simply wants to humiliate Io. This is all about revenge, getting to that point. And then we've got a awesome feud between Io and Bayley where Io is overwhelmingly the babyface. That's what I want. Vince actually likes Kofi. Yeah, he did. But he did cave to pressure, Vince. He never saw Kofi as the main eventer. And to be fair, he did. The minute he could bury Kofi and get him out of the way again, he did. But he did it. Vince didn't give Kofi the title. Yeah. Never say never. I think, Michael, you make a good point there. That never say never is oh so important. Because what is the reality right now and in the run up to the next WrestleMania doesn't mean it will be in the run up to the WrestleMania after that. This will be in a very, very, very different place. So never say never is the best thing you can ever say, I think, when it comes to this sport, because anything can happen. I think Murphy's Law is very strong in wrestling. I think the failed cash-in is happening with Priest and Balor screwing Priest. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I think something's going down there. I don't know, though, if it makes more sense in that story for Balor to win the title off Rollins, although I don't see that happening for a while yet. And then to have the tension of, is Priest going to cash in on Balor? That is what I'd enjoy. I'd love to see Balor as the champion, but with his running mate breathing down his neck. You know, Balor screwing Priest, because I don't know. Yeah, but it definitely could happen. But I think there's more, for me personally, there's more drama in Bayley just feigning her friendship with Io, and this all being a plot for Bayley just to, you know, lose the plot. Unfortunately, his gimmick isn't originally my opinion. I don't think it'll even have the longevity that Rusev Day had. Do you mean LA Knight? Because I'm inclined to agree. I think it is another Rusev Day. But again, I don't think he's going to be a Brock, a Roman, a Cody, or any of these. But if they book him right, he could be an upper mid-carder success. Like someone like Sheamus, he could have, he could have a lot of success. He's never going to, I don't think he's ever going to be the guy, but he can be a guy. 100%. He can be a guy to the end of his career at LA Knight. If he keeps the crowd on his side and WWE use him cleverly. He does, but I don't need him to be the next Cody, Roman Reigns, John Cena. I don't need him to be that. I just need him to be booked well and for WWE to capitalize on what they've got, which is actually something special. Like WWE should have capitalized on Rusev Day. They didn't, because they didn't choose it. They didn't choose for him to be that over. It wasn't the plan. But I think with Triple H, so much in a lot more control than he used to be. Obviously, Vince is still a factor, but this is still very much a Triple H product that Vince sticks his hand in and ruins the cookie dough or molds the cookie dough now and then. But it's the guy in the kitchen is still Triple H. So I have a lot more trust than I used to. And in past 12 months, my trust has often been rewarded. I imagine LA Knight's popularity has caught the powers that be by surprise in WWE. Yeah, it absolutely has. And he said a few interesting things when we spoke to him that shed light on how all that went about as well. Go watch the interview on WrestleSphere. Yeah, exactly. Kofi Mania was never supposed to happen, but they leaned into it quite quick. And as soon as they could kill it, they did. But notice, once they killed it, the crowd just forgot. Like, there were a few people calling for justice and stuff like that, but it died off. It was a flash in the pan. It just was. No disrespect to Kofi. Kofi's awesome. But Kofi Mania was a flash in the pan, just like Rusev Day was. And I suspect the LA Knight thing will be. Doesn't mean I don't want LA Knight to do really, really well, because I do. And if WWE don't capitalize on this in some form, they're fools. Sorry, they need to. But I think they will. I have faith that there is a plan. I always plan to win the title this year. Remember with that stuff, though, the plans, the long-term plans, WWE does change them. Like, we can't ever say with certainty something is going to happen, because they do change their minds. Minds do change. But yeah, Io's time is coming, 100%. And I'd be surprised if she didn't win a title this year. The question is, how are they going to get there? Because sometimes it's the chase. The chase is often the story rather than the win. The win is often hollow. The win is often, where do you go from there? Where the chase is where the meat is. Like, if Io was to just win the title tomorrow, it wouldn't be interesting at all. She wouldn't be an interesting champion at all, because she needs more oomph, more story to push her there. That title's going to mean something when it's around her waist. And if Io was to win it right now, just for the cash in, it'd mean nothing. It'd just be boring. So I think with Io, they've got an epic character there. But the paint job isn't complete yet for me. Remember how everyone said Cody was going to win at Mania and he didn't? In all honesty, I don't want Cody Roman main event in WrestleMania again. And here's another example, because right now, Michael, the plan, WWE's plan right now, is Cody versus Roman 2. But again, like I said a minute ago, plans can change. Like, right now, it's the plan. But that doesn't 100% mean it'll happen. My money is on that happening. My money is, because I do think the Cody story and the Roman Reigns story need to intersect again. And this time it'll be a lot more personal. And I kind of like it. I think the loss at WrestleMania this time round, where I didn't like it at first, now I like it. I've changed my mind on it because of the storytelling, because of the way they've done it. I feel like the Brock Lesnar thing hasn't fully hit. I don't think it has, but I've enjoyed the matches. Oh, you guys are moving fast. Exactly. Rusev Day wasn't to get over. Vince, it just buried Rusev, didn't he? And we all know that story. And it's that. But again, I don't know if WWE is still going to do that, because obviously Vince is still a factor, but Triple H doesn't suffer from Vince's capriciousness and pettiness. He just doesn't. He wants the product to be as good as it can be. Cody wasn't always the guy, and he wasn't the main draw until he went to AEW. Well, obviously, like Cody going away and doing his own thing is what made him a commodity. He was just another second-generation wrestler when he was in WWE. It wasn't until his awesome run in Japan, Ring of Honor, and on the Indies that he became a big deal. And let's be honest, he spearheaded All In with the Young Bucks, befriended a billionaire, and they put their vision together and created AEW. The only difference is that as that time went on, their vision evolved went onto different routes, and he was outnumbered by the others. And to be fair, Cody coming back to WWE, I was a bit about it at first, but it was the greatest decision he ever made. It was. I feel like AEW misses him. I think it did leave a little bit of a hole in AEW for me. Cody was never the biggest draw of AEW to me. But I think in WWE now, he's definitely a big star. He's up there. I'm not going to go to like John Cena levels yet, or even Roman Reigns levels, but he could be. There's a lot, there's a lot of things can still happen with Cody, and I do think out of all the baby faces in the company, Cody's the guy. I do. There are others, but I do think it is his destiny to get to where he wants to get. I honestly do. I think WWE do too. And he wouldn't have gone back there if it wasn't the plan eventually. Cody knows where he's going. That's why he's got a smile on his face. You know what I mean? This story has been planned. Don't know when it's going to get there or how it's going to get there, but there is an end goal that they are eventually going to get to with Cody. And it's him ending the story and then starting a new chapter, wherever that may be. Michael, LA Knight wasn't the guy. When was World Champion TNA? Yeah, but I don't know if that matters now. That's ancient history at this point. But it's true. Yeah, well, what I meant by that misfit is Bayley interrupts the cash-in, completely messes it up. Maybe Bayley goes on to win the title and Io chases her and takes it off her. That's what I mean. Again, because I know you're a big Io fan and you want the title on her tomorrow. But all I'm saying is, I think it's much more powerful for her to. She's a heel right now. She's a bad guy. I think she needs to turn face, and I think a good face turn is a bigger heel bullying her, ruining her opportunity. The crowd then developing sympathy for her, and then following her story as she gets justice, and then fights that heel for the title. I actually think Bayley versus Io could end up being a WrestleMania event. It'd be nice to see somebody other than Becky and Charlotte or Bianca Belair in that spot too. Maybe they'll have finished with that story by then. They likely will have. But I want to see a story between Io and Bayley. And I do think that's where they're going. I really do. Do you think she will win the title from Asuka? I reckon she's going to wrestle Asuka, and that's maybe where Bayley will interfere. That's what I think. But we'll see. I feel like it's WWE, though, because Bray Wyatt was the hottest thing wrestler during the pandemic. They ruined it and let him go. He wasn't, though, wasn't he? I think, like, The Fiend was great, but it was flawed. Because the problem with The Fiend is that's the sort of thing you do super sparingly. Every now and then, maybe once, maybe not even that, twice, once a year, if that. And having him come out every week ruined it, killed it. Like, I'd be open to seeing The Fiend again at one point, but again, they need the right story to get there. And then once they've done that, and we've seen The Fiend again, I'm happy for another 2 years to go by without seeing the character. They need to make it a very special attraction for it to work. Less is always more in these things. But I do think that's where they were going, with the Uncle Howdy story. No, I think, again, you misunderstood. They had steered away from Cody versus Roman. Roman's doing his own thing with the Bloodline, and Cody is doing his own thing with Brock and whoever else. But I think they're going to intersect again. I think the plan is for Cody and Roman to be separate from each other at this moment in time because they can't feud for an entire year. But the plan is absolutely for them to come back around. So they steered them away from each other just for them to meet in the middle again. That's what I think is a temporary thing. I was at no point suggesting that they're not going to do Cody versus Roman. I have it on very good authority that they're going to. But they could change their minds. But I don't think they will. I think that story is kind of laid out. How they get there is certainly going to change a few times between now and then, but we'll see. Oh, yeah. 100% it did. 100% it did. I love all your comments in this conversation. You guys make Gimme a Hall, yeah, the best place. Thank you all. Are you still awake? But thank you for your kind words. Ant, one of our founders. I was going to say, like, on a Friday night, I was either out drinking or tucked up in bed, and somehow I'm here doing this. It's that Dominic. It's that Dominic. He knows how to get you to do something. And of course, I'm very, very happy that he did. Of course. You're actually both right, Michael and Misfit, when it comes to Bray Wyatt. Everything you've said has been correct. You know, he was a massive star, but they ruined it. Hell in a Cell was a massive, massive thing that ruined it. And seeing him too often, I mean, 100% seeing him too often was one of the things that ruined it. Even with disagreement, you do stay respectful. It's a greater community. Yeah, well, I don't think we're actually arguing. I think we're just having a lively conversation, I think. I also think being the casual fan who isn't like that with IO, they would be, oh, well, she lost to someone else. Well, I don't quite understand that, but it might be from a while ago. Yeah, I think with Io's a big star now. I think a lot of fans know who she is, but I think Bayley is still a much more well-known wrestler. And if we want Io to be a top babyface, she needs. How do you build a top babyface? You put them up against a top heel, and that heel works their socks off to put that person over and help turn that person into the hero. Because we want to cheer Io. Io is ready for a face turn. But as we discovered in this episode, she's still very much a heel. And they're not done with this. They're going to have to do this whole Shotzi storyline now. But I do think we are heading towards Io versus Bayley. I don't think we're seeing a title on Io anytime soon. I think she has to go through the trial of fire first. She has to have a babyface turn and then earn it as a babyface. A little bit like how Sami Zayn did. Sami Zayn turned face and certainly was not ready to. He needed his redemption, didn't he, before he could win that title. And he spent a month or so getting that redemption. And by the time he did win that title at WrestleMania, the time was right, you know? But the way you turn a heel babyface is put them up against a bigger heel. And a betrayal by somebody they cared about is a great way to do that. Okay, as Michael saying, I think it doesn't really matter how we use the wrestlers. It's about the money. Yeah, true. No, Misfit, you're not timed out, mate. Just I'm only human. I can only get to that many comments so quickly. That's all it is. I'm just going through them methodically. That's all it is. And I haven't even done a vote because there've been so many. I'm going through them quickly. So no, you're not being timed out at all. You're here. I don't know if something's happened on your side, but I promise you've not been timed out. If anyone's ever timed out, I tell them with relish. Yeah, if anyone's ever timed out, they're warned before they are. And I don't think I ever need to time you out, dude. So I wouldn't worry about that. You could get me back on your own podcast if I ever did. I agree with WWE's poor booking system where AW isn't perfect. But they do know what the fans want. Yeah, too much so sometimes, I think, Michael, in my opinion. I think they pander a little bit sometimes. And I don't know if they're always in tune because I'm an AEW fan and I sometimes want to put my finger down my throat and vomit. I hate this idea that the Young Bucks are saints when evidence to the contrary has popped up a few times. We won't go into too much detail, but yeah, we know they have a lot of trouble backstage and things like that. But again, I want both companies to do well and succeed. I'm so sick of hearing about the backstage politics at AEW. It's actually damaged my fandom of wrestling since the Brawl Out. It damaged it. It was my biggest disappointment of last year. That I was angry with everyone. There was a time where I wanted Hangman Page, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and CM Punk and Sammy Guevara all to be fired and all to be persona non grata from wrestling for life, to send a message to people. I genuinely at one point wanted that. I wanted to show all those men that AEW can exist and thrive without them. I wanted them to see that. Now, that was my initial reaction to Brawl Out. The company and wrestling is bigger than these silly, childish people's egos. But now I'm glad that didn't happen, and I'm kind of glad everybody is back. Like, even Ace Steel is back, and I'm kind of happy, and I feel a bit more relaxed about it, that everybody got a second chance. I just don't want anybody to squander that second chance in AEW, I think. And Karrion Kross is murdering AJ Styles. Oh no, he's murdering the former Bullet Club guys. Go on, AJ, rescue the boys. I already lost to Bianca because of Bailey. I don't know if having Bailey costing IO again. You got to remember though, Misfit, you're a massive IO fan, and fandom can cloud things sometimes. We got to, like, if we think objectively, do you really not want to see a feud between IO and Bailey? Because I'm fairly sure that's where they're heading. Like, that whole climbing over on the ladder thing, that's gotta go somewhere. That is storytelling gold. They've got to do something. But Bailey continuously costing IO. I love the idea of IO and Bailey being best buddies again, and then Bailey just sticking the knife in. I think it's good storytelling. And from what I've seen, the fans really wanted Asuka to win the title, but her reign has been pretty underwhelming so far. Yeah, it has been. But I think it was more of a case as they just wanted it off Bianca. I think they were just so bored of Bianca, because I'm still bored of her. I think she needs to turn heel. I think it's the only way I'll be interested again. Well, Io is the one I want to hold the title, but like, would you really put the title on her tomorrow? Really? She's a heel. And if we want her to be a face, you know, I understand wanting the best for our favourites. I completely understand that. But I want the best for her too. And I think the best way to do that is with a good story, not just a hot shot it onto her and then have no story. There's got to be, without story, it's a bit boring, isn't it? Again, unless it's about who's just the better man or the better woman. But they're not. But that only really works like with baby faces. Heels are normally behaving nefariously, and I think Io's got a long way to go before she's a clear cut baby face. Is WrestleMania a bad word, lol? Oh, let me say anything about it. I don't know what you mean, dude. If I'm being honest with that one. Yeah, they give the fans what they want. They build up from it. Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, Asuka should have won that at Mania. And not only did it damage Asuka's record further, yeah, she was ready to lose it there and then. I thought that is the thing I think that soured me a little bit on Bianca Belair's reign, and they started making her act a little bit more heelish, and then never really did anything with it. Yeah, Mania. You'll remember, how annoyed I was at Mania when Asuka didn't win. I was furious. That was the thing that annoyed me the most about WrestleMania and I feel really, really mean on Bianca Belair saying this, because Bianca Belair's great. She's absolutely great, but I think they should have turned her heel. I think they still should. Is this the main event? I don't think so. We've got half an hour to go. The main event is Asuka versus Bianca. I've been paying so much attention to the comments. I haven't been paying attention to the show. And the banner and the votes. I'm really sorry, Hassan. We haven't done any of them yet because we've been so busy chatting. But that's what we're here to do. I think that, I'm sure the boys will forgive me on this occasion for being a bit lax with the banner and the votes. Carrying Cross needs a full recap package. His gimmicks isn't working. Yeah, maybe. What do they do, though? I just think he needs a... Here I go again. I just think he needs a good story. Like, this AJ Styles feud is better than nothing. It's not been bad. I like the idea with carrying Cross of... Do you remember when he put the hourglass down in front of Roman Reigns and Roman Reigns just kind of sneered? It was at Scarlet. See, I like the idea of them doing that again. Him being interjected into that story in some way, not necessarily winning, but him being a threat. So if I go back to Clash at the Castle, what I really, really enjoyed about the Drew McIntyre Roman Reigns match was all the variables. You had Austin Theory, who could cash in at any moment. And again, and he was a threat. He was probably never going to actually get it, but he was still a threat, and it was exciting to see him come out. And then there was the carrying Cross thing, because this is around the time Cross had put the hourglass down in front of Roman Reigns. So the heel-on-heel thing was pretty exciting as well. But they never went anywhere with that. And I think, that was when I was most interested in carrying Cross, when they brought him back and he just left MLW, come back to WWE. And who's this? Hey, it's Lashley. And he's a babyface again. Yay. Right. But yeah, it's Cross being a threat, sat in the crowd, snarling at McIntyre and Reigns at Clash in the Castle. That was good. That was good, And then they just fluffed it again, didn't they? But I don't know why they keep fluffing. I don't think they gave me enough. They put him in that feud with Rey Mysterio, didn't they? And that did nothing for me. Oh, speaking of Ray. And no disrespect to Ray or carrying Cross there. I don't know why that didn't come off. It felt a bit forced. I don't get why Cross was messing with Reigns. I want to go back and watch the Shotzi promo after this. Oh, mate, that is going to be all over social media by now. And both Roman and Bianca break records was dumb. Bianca didn't break. Yeah, I agree. I think the Roman record was enough. I remember, I think it was Dom or Dan said, I don't think they're going to take it off if they're going to want to go after this record. And I thought, yeah, you're right. And lo and behold, thank God they did take it off her eventually. But it would have been a bigger moment if they'd done it at Mania. They should have leaned into that, I think. They really should have. God, I was disproportionately angry. I think I was more mad about that than Dom was at Bray Wyatt not showing up. Although that upset me too. There were rumours he was showing up tonight, Not many rumours, but there was a rumour. But I didn't think it was very likely. In fact, Dom and I had a plan that if it was to happen, I had permission to ring him in the middle of the night. I think Wyatt is coming back soon. I think the writing is on the wall. They're heavily marketing him in the game at the moment. And we've heard other rumbles. I can't say it because I've only got one. I can't say it. But there are rumblings that he's coming back soon. And I think it makes logical sense for him to come back soon. Oh, in other news, LA Knight. Yeah! Are we going to get a babyface promo here? Or is he going to run down the crowd? What's going to happen? Let me talk to you. We're going to get one with Nakamura. Then Nakamura, yeah. Bobby's back. Yay! Roman versus Lashley will be one of the pay-per-view matches. Yeah, defo. Unfinished business between Lashley and Roman, 100%. Absolutely. I'd happily see a spin the wheels feud between Roman and Lashley again at some point. I honestly would. Even with the Usos thing going on around it, I'd be fine with that because that makes sense. That's what you do in boxing. It's what you do in wrestling. It's what you do in a combat sport. You can still have the Bloodline storyline going on. Like you can give it a Roman's moving on to other things. He's going to go and take on new challenges, and just have the Usos snapping at his heels in the background. Because ultimately, none of us think Jey's taking it off him, do we? So they've got to do something. They can't just have Jey against him constantly between now and Mania, or until Cody and Roman circle around back to each other. Then there's the question of how is Brock going to factor into this, if at all. Lots of good stuff, lots of good storyline coming our way for the girls and the boys. Yeah, Shotzi promo is on YouTube now. Very intense. Yeah, it is. That's what's got us so excited. It's going to be Sheamus and Theory at SummerSlam. I hope you're right, because I'm like the card I've seen, and again it could change at any point, but the card that is floating around has Austin Theory defending on the SmackDown before it. I don't know if it's said against Sheamus, probably, but he wasn't on the main card. He was on the bloody SmackDown before it, which annoys me because I want him on the main card. But I can just see them doing that. You know, they've done it so many times before. I can see them doing it again. I won't be quite as mad if they get the IC, because I think Gunther with the IC title is a bigger deal than Austin Theory with the US title at the moment. Just the way they're booking it. But come on now, get Austin Theory on the card. Make it a triple threat if you have to. Get a couple of people in there. But I think McIntyre versus Gunther's a shoo-in at SummerSlam. But you know me, I'm of the view that SummerSlam should have more matches than the average pay-per-view. Not as many as Mania, but I think SummerSlam should push it just a little bit. Push the length just a little bit. Do with that what you will, Ant. Push the length. We all know what Dom would say if he was here. LA Knight. Yeah, whose game is it? That's a cool catchphrase. I know WWE over relies on catchphrases sometimes, but I'm into that one. In fact, the fact that Pretty Deadly cost Sheamus last week. Yeah. It's interesting that they are booking them as a threat. I didn't see the rear graphics. I think I was too busy focused on you guys. Right, now we're having a bloody poll. We're doing it. The first time tonight. Oh, okay. Got to be done sometimes, doesn't it? But we'll have a poll for the main event. I think it's only right. Whoa, there we go. Okay, so start a poll. Who wins? And the poll is live. Fill your boots. And shall we have a banner? There we go. And we have a banner. Something big has to happen here, there to main event. I think Charlotte Flair's interfering. That's what I think. And then maybe they make it a triple threat at SummerSlam. I could see that happening. I think with WWE sometimes, in the wrestling or media fiction and storytelling in general, I'm sometimes happier letting it wash over me than I am trying to predict what's going to happen next. Not all the time, but I think when you get caught in the trap of always trying to predict what's going to happen next, it loses a little bit of its magic, I think. I reckon. Anyway, not always, just sometimes. I can't put it past WWE to have Bianca win and just don't do the triple threat because Bianca versus Charlotte is the match Vince wants, not what Triple H wants. Here we go. So, rules of engagement between Jey Uso and Roman Reigns next week. See, they are spinning the wheels with this episode, aren't they? This would be had to be the episode I come back on. But it's been all right. It's been a good stream. Interestingly, we often have the best streams when we have the worst episodes. Do you remember a few weeks ago we had that absolute shocking episode of SmackDown? Really bad. Nothing happened at all. Absolutely nothing. They did no build. Hardly any build at all. And then, but we had a wicked stream and we did really good numbers as well. I was there like tweeting the boys in our WhatsApp. Well, I was messaging the boys the next day in the WhatsApp group, like, yeah, want to have a look at that. We'll see if that happens again tonight or tomorrow morning. Yeah, Ant agrees. Sometimes it's better to, like, it's certainly hard in my screen's just gone off. Oh no, I'm back. It's approaching 3 a.m., which means my internet's going to have a wobble. It's always what happens. That's the thing, Ant. It's like I said at Money in the Bank. And same with WrestleMania. I think we spent so much time. I know Dan was doing it for Hull, and I was doing it for WrestleSphere, but we spent so much time like tweeting and getting pictures and getting video content and doing all of that. There's some moments I was like, no, I don't want to do work. I just want to watch the wrestling. You know, I look at my phone and I have hundreds of pictures from Mania, just like literally hundreds. Like when I scroll through my pictures, I have to go like, when it comes to Mania. Rumor is Eric Young went back to Impact. See, I saw your tweet earlier about him staying on at WWE. So I don't know what's going on with Eric Young, in all honesty. I suppose wherever he's happiest, wherever he thinks he can do more good. I feel like I don't think I paid a huge amount of attention. I've interviewed him a couple of times. It'd be fun to do it again. If he does go back to Impact, I might get to interview him again, so that'd be cool. Not that we don't get WWE interviews, just we get a lot more from Impact. There are no creative plans for Eric Young in WWE going forward. There were, but not anymore. Yeah, because he had obviously he left Impact, didn't he, to go back to WWE? But I think I just assumed he was doing a backstage role, like a producer role, like he had last time at WWE for so long. Because he did a lot of work backstage, and I know that much. A lot of production work and things like that. Because he's a very creative dude. Oh, there's Io. Nah, Bailey's out here. Bailey and Io, they've got the briefcase. Let's see what happens. Looks like I won't be ringing Dom. Hey, guys. Poor Dom. I bet he wakes up and like, oh, is Sam going to ring me? Is Bray back? No, I don't think so, mate. Maybe SummerSlam. Maybe SummerSlam. If he isn't back by SummerSlam, I'm going to start getting concerned again, I think. Yeah, that's what I mean. Exactly. It's been like that since before Mania. Like, how is Bianca Belair not a heel yet? They need to start reading the room with Bianca and Asuka. Like, yeah, they took the title off her. Yeah, now see that. That's what I like. That is what they could do. Because I don't buy. Yeah, it is Charlotte. Because I don't buy Bayley's loyalty to Io. I think it's all a sham. She's being too nice, too forgiving for Money in the Bank. I don't buy it. I smell a rat. Just saw rumours that it might be a new faction with Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. Yeah, that could work. But they're not doing what I want them to do with that. And I want them to reform the Hurt Business. Because that, like, we are in an era of awesome factions in WWE. It's working really, really well. And I mean, do you remember the awesome faction they had? The Hurt Business. Everybody loved it. They broke it up for like no reason. You know, and the Retribution faction was god awful, but the Hurt Business was cracking. They should do that again with and have Omos as an enforcer as well. That'd be great. I don't think the Street Profits need to be in a three-way faction with Lashley. Street Profits are they're a great tag team on their own. I don't know. That's just me. Bayley can say she can win, and we'll give Io the first crack at the title because she's a good friend. That's why I like the idea of Io cashing in on Bayley. She doesn't trust Bayley. Yeah, well, they could. They could swerve us and have this whole thing being Io is like, I never trusted you. You know, I knew you were. And that would like shock Bayley, and Bayley would be like, I suppose, yeah, but I think that would make Io a little bit more dastardly, or just maybe just smart, I suppose. Like, I'd be game for that. But I kinda want to see Bayley just go completely evil, just annihilate Io and be like, "This is for you climbing over me, you know." And do you remember when I went a bit crazy before and I played out that whole thing of what Bayley would do? That's what I want to see. I think that'd make the best TV. That's just me. We'll see where they go. We know they're going to end up feuding. We just know it. But we'll see. Hi, Charlie. Thanks for joining us. Oh yeah, like that is actually quite a cool swerve. It would be interesting if Io was like, I knew you were going to turn on me, Bayley, or I knew you weren't going to let Money in the Bank go. If they were to do something like that, have Io being ready for her, that would be interesting. But I think there's the fly in the ointment right now, though, with this story is at this moment in time is the Shotzi Blackheart thing for me. Like, that's the thing I didn't predict. I just barely even noticed them cutting her hair. It's because WWE is conditioned us not to just pay much attention to Shotzi. And after tonight's episode, we're all paying attention to Shotzi, and rightfully so. Charlie saying, do you remember me? Charlie, I certainly remember your name, bud. I certainly remember your name. And thank you for joining us again, mate. Hope you're enjoying the show. Love your thoughts on this episode of SmackDown. Well, I'm just messing around with my socks. There we go. Yeah, I was actually 100% justified too. Will not make her the heel. No, that it could be it could still be a face turn. It'd be more of a case of the crowd laughing along with her and laughing at Bayley, so it would work. It'd be a funny moment and a good comeuppance for Bayley, but I don't know. Like the whole walking over a thing at Money in the Bank, and Bayley having some kind of video package ready about, I've been planning to do this to you since you disrespected me, and I'm the one who led Damage Control, and you did that to me. And Bayley just being absolutely delusional. But yeah, but I think a feud between them is coming either way. But then again, I think like the whole thing they're doing has been very mirrored with the Balor and Priest angle. So yeah, they've got to be careful that they don't do the same thing twice. But I don't think they will. Be interested. I think if that goes one way, the other one will go the other way. I hope Charlie said, hope Charlotte wins the title. Well, that's interesting. Again, Charlotte's excellent, very, very good. Doesn't get a huge amount of love though, does she? From the fans. They turned Ronda heel when Liv cashed in and kept her the babyface when Ronda was the face. Yeah. Yeah, because I've never been a fan of Money in the Bank being held by a babyface. I always think it's more fun when a heel has it and can crow about it or serve as a threat. I think the Seth Rollins way, the Edge way, and the Austin Theory way were my three favorite ways of doing that. Because Theory was a threat who kept on coming out and being another variable in every Roman Reigns match. I enjoyed it. It got repetitive. Like you knew eventually he was coming, but that was the story. He's a coward. Oh. Bayley got killed by Charlotte. I was going to knock Charlotte out with a briefcase now, isn't she? Bang. Oh, no. Pull her hair. Bang into the post. Yeah, don't point that at Bianca. Oh, nice spear from Charlotte Flair. Asuka's the person with the belt. Oh, now she knocked her out with the briefcase. Is she doing it? What's going on, Misfit? Nah, you need Asuka. You need Asuka in the ring. What's going to happen? DQ finish. Don't matter. Yeah, it don't matter, does it? They can cash in. Get Asuka on the floor, get her prone, cash in. Still counts. Oh, are they doing it? Nope. Asuka's up. Missed. And she's got the belt and she's out of there. She escapes. Yeah, failed cash in. Well, not a failed cash in. Cash in didn't happen. Yeah, Bayley seemed pretty committed to helping Io on that occasion. Maybe she is at this point. Maybe getting misted in the face. See, I like how there were multiple stories going on. Oh yeah, like I didn't think they were actually going to do the cash in. I think they'll save it. Oh, see, I hope they add Bayley to the match. I hope they add Bayley to the match because that makes it way more interesting. Because then if Io cashes in, then we've got some serious drama, don't we? Ooh, see, I'm excited for SummerSlam. I think we've got SummerSlam and All In coming up. Oh, the gods are good. They should really put Becky back up from mid-card. She's too good to be in the appointments feud with Zoe. See, I agree, but I think with Becky it doesn't really matter what they do with her, because like Becky is always going to be over, always going to be up there. She can afford, I suppose, to just take a bit of time to put over someone else or build herself up again or be in a story that doesn't involve the title. That's the thing with Becky. They can do that with her. They can do the stuff that they just don't ever seem to want to do with Charlotte, because Becky can take it. Becky can just slot right back into the title picture, but it'd be boring if Becky's always in the title picture. So, and if, as you know, Zoe Stark's all well and good, but the storyline here is Trish Stratus, isn't it? That's the story between her and Becky. So, yeah, Zoe Stark is just a tool being used by Stratus, and Trish is a big star. So I don't know if it's the mid card per se, because it's, you know, she's up against a Hall of Famer. So WWE, I won't see it that way. I don't think, but I know what you mean. Happy to see her in the title picture again soon, but it doesn't need to be right away. I actually find it quite refreshing. Right then, guys. Yeah, I think you're right, mate. I think it's a 4-way, and I'm so into it. I think Bayley being added to it, Charlotte being added to it, just makes it more interesting. Just completely. Chris, that's exactly what we're saying, mate. We're excited by that, especially with Io hovering nearby with the briefcase. Oh my god. Oh. Well, guys, it's 3 a.m. here, so let's wrap this thing up. I don't know if Ant's gone to bed. Exactly, yeah. But I still like the idea of Bayley scuppering it for her. I still like that. And then that being the story coming out. See, that's what I'm rooting for now. Right, so we like to do the performer of the night, match of the night, moment of the night. So I'm going to give that performer of the night to Shotzi Blackheart, because I think Shotzi just was the thing that surprised us all, you know. Yeah, I was going to say, mate, yeah, it's 3 a.m. where I am. Anthony, are you still here? I thought you had gone to sleep, mate. You should have jumped on. You've been here all night. Are you just sat in bed on your phone? Or are you still up and about? Yeah, so I'm giving performer of the night to Shotzi, because that blew all of our minds. None of us saw that coming. Match of the night. It wasn't a very wrestling. I think the AJ Styles match, I know it kind of ended abruptly, but I thought that had the best wrestling, I think. A moment of the night, I suppose, goes to Shotzi as well, because that's the thing I'm taking away from that episode the most. The Jey Uso stuff was good as well, with Paul Heyman. I'll give it a mark out of 10. Again, it wasn't just playing a game. Oh, fair enough. Are you playing AEW? Are you just messing about on something else? See, I can't stay up till 3 a.m. playing games anymore. This is the only thing I can. Well, not the only thing I can stay up all night doing. One of them. I'm talking about knitting. What are you thinking of? Yeah, no, I'm joking. I don't know. Out of 10, this is a weird episode, because it wasn't like a banger of an episode, was it, by any stretch of the imagination? But they did do some cool moments, like the Shotzi thing, the Uso, Solo Sikoa, face off with Heyman, and how the episode ended, setting up a fatal 4-way for SummerSlam. See, I'm now excited for that match where I wasn't that bothered before. When it was Bianca versus Asuka, I wasn't that bothered. And adding Charlotte into the mix made it a bit more interesting. But now adding Bayley to the match with Io on the outside holding that briefcase, now I'm champing at the bit for it. Completely champing at the bit for that. So, yeah, exciting. So I'm going to give it, I don't know, I'm giving it a 6.5 out of 10 because I can't really give it a 7 because it just wasn't a brilliant episode of SmackDown. So, I don't normally do this, end the stream with the same person that introduced it, but I think it's Shotzi's night, isn't it? So we'll have an outro by Shotzi in a moment. And I'm going to say thank you very much for joining us. Yeah, I've been playing a game and enjoying the stream. Fair enough. I don't know about you, mate. I'm going to bed now because I'm half dead. But it's been a good stream. I only yawned a few times. Not so sold on Prime, but maybe it got me through the stream. Yeah. So thank you for joining me. See you next week. Stuff's going on. I don't know what we're doing. The plan is for SummerSlam yet. I'll struggle to stream it myself if I'm doing SmackDown the night before, because 2 consecutive streams are just a bit too much, staying up late. So we'll see what we do there. But yeah, have a good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And I think Dan will see you on Monday for Raw. Yeah, whole yeah, and all that stuff. Let's see if Shotzi wants to play us out. Where are you, Shotzi? All right then, guys. I'll see you soon. I'm exhausted, so it's not going to be a lively outro. So see you later, guys.
Hello, this is Shotzi Blackheart, and welcome to Gimme a Whole Yeah! I hope everyone checking this out in Yorkshire and beyond is having a great day.